Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials.
Good morning, it's 7 o'clock on Saturday the 30th of January. Just making my way down to the land, and as always, never quite sure what we're going to get done today, but let's find out. Well, here we are down on the land, and it's still a little bit dark. Sun's yet to make an appearance over the horizon. Got a few bits in the car that I need to bring down, so I'll go get the wheelbarrow. Just noticed though, somebody's left me a little present. You'll not see in there, I don't think. It's plant pots. There's a chap that walks by every day. It's morning exercise, and he did say about a week ago that he was going to get some pots, and did I want any, and if I did, he'd leave them outside the gate, and clearly he has. So thank you very much for that. I'll put those to good use. You're not going to really see much as I walk across the field because it is still too dark, so I'll go and get the cabin opened up, get out of this little wind and I'll catch up with you shortly. Well, we've finally got a bit of light. I've just got the kettle on to boil. I'm not putting the fire on this morning, so that noise you can hear is the diesel heater pumping away. Temperature wise, it's not too bad. It was 2 degrees as I was coming down, but it's actually, if we can focus in on that or not, it doesn't. Oh, it does. 11 degrees in the cabin. Garden room, not quite so toasty. What have we got? That's hovering around 5 degrees. That's those pots. Then I got a little present this morning. Don't know why this camera doesn't like to focus all of a sudden. There we go. So there's quite a lot of little pots in there. I'll put those to good use. No sign yet of potatoes or carrots, but I guess that's not surprising. They've been in, well, the carrots and one bucket's been in a week, no, 2 weeks now. That second one's been in a week. Likewise, I'm guessing that the little seeds in the covered bed are not going to be doing anything. What we got here, we've got, yeah, it's the same as the garden room, 5 degrees. Lots of condensation in the trays, but I'm not expecting to see any shoots, and there aren't. Reason the fire's not on, I'm going to clean out the chimney. I noticed last week it was having difficulty in drawing. I'm guessing it's the chimney is blocking up, so hence the diesel heater this morning. But I'll get this kettle boiled off. Actually, I might just pop outside for a minute. I noticed a bit of standing water at the top end of the field this morning where I want to put that second pond, so I'll have a quick walk up there and take a quick look. Well, as you can see, it's another grey day. In fact, it's that grey, the light is still on at the cabin door. That's me walking past it. It is forecast for snow, which I don't really want. I'm itching to get stuff planted out in these beds. That that garlic shouldn't be too far off, to be fair. Be interesting to see. Another couple of weeks I might pull one of those. Those little cauliflower are still hanging in there, so that's nice. That's an early start with those, and they're obviously hardened off because they've been through all the way through the winter. I think the ones that are left in this bed aren't going to do very much, but I'm just reluctant to pull them out, to be honest. They've hung in there through the winter, so it's only fair I give them a fighting chance. Anyway, let's take a quick look. I've got an aeroplane going over. I could do with being on that. It's a long time since I had a holiday. It is wet underfoot. We've had quite a bit of rain those last couple of days. We were a bit worried that we might be on flood alert again, but thankfully the river didn't rise so much this week at work, so that was good. Yeah, I noticed as I was unpacking the car, I just brought down another 3 bags of compost, and I noticed that this water was standing a little bit more than it was when I showed you it last week. You can probably see it now as I come up to it. I think this bottom end or top end, definitely the place for that pond, and you can probably get a better idea now of where I want to put it. It is exactly where that water is. There's a little bit in the middle that's raised slightly, but if I dig out all of that area, I think that would make quite a decent little pond. Well, actually a fairly big pond. So I don't know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. But I think that's the project for this year, or one of the projects for this year. Anyway, I'm going to get myself back down, get in the cabin, get that cup of coffee made, and I'll catch up with you shortly. Just pop in the polytunnel quickly while that's the compost that I've got now. So I've got 8 bags. I brought 3 down this morning, and I've already got, as you know, lots of pots already filled, ready to go with compost and seed trays for that matter. And I might be using one of these today amongst my little jobs that I want to be done. It is still very grey out here. I'm not looking forward to doing that chimney, I have to say. But anyway, get myself in here, get warmed through, and you can feel the temperature difference as you walk in here. That is a fact. I think that heater can go off now. I'll sit and have my coffee and we'll have a quick chat. Well, good morning everyone. Hope you're all doing well wherever you are and staying safe. It's a cool morning, but it's not too bad. I've got my coffee, which is what counts. And I can sit and hug this while I talk to you. I turned the diesel heater off because in here with the cabin door closed, it maintains a fairly stable temperature. And rather than just waste the diesel, because I will be getting a little bit active when I tackle this wood burning stove chimney. I'm interested to see what's in there. I'm suspecting that it needs a clean. It has been used a lot over this last couple of months since I cleaned it out last time. So I am interested to see how much material has built up inside the chimney since then. It won't be a very long video today. We're in that kind of funny period now. Clearly we're in winter, so the weather is a challenge, and you'll have seen in numerous videos recently just how challenging it can be down here. It is quite exposed. The cabin, we get a northerly wind coming towards the garden room from over there, which we've had quite a bit of recently, hence the big freeze that we've had, the sort of between 4s, 5s, in some cases -6 degrees here. Other parts of the country have been -10 and more. They can keep it. I don't want it here. And of course we get the predominantly southwesterly wind, which is bringing in all the rain for what seems like an eternity now. I can't really think of the last day that we had where we had a decent bit of sunshine. It's been spitting with rain today, on and off. It rained a little bit on the way, stopped, I managed to get the stuff out of the car, and then it rained a little bit more, and now it's stopped again. But there is clearly a sky full of something out there, and as I said earlier, it was forecasting snow, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, with the weather, there's not a great deal I can do outside. I have got the wood to start making the chicken coop, but having learned my lesson from last winter, I don't want to start building that until I'm fairly sure that the big freeze and snow and rain has subsided. I did get caught out when I built the cabin extension. I got the floor down and then it rained for 2 or 3 days solid, which meant the floor got wet, and I was very lucky actually that it didn't completely ruin it. So no, I don't want to make that same mistake again with a chicken coop. And I have time. It's not like I'm in a desperate rush right now to get it done. Equally, the raised beds, it's not the time yet to be putting stuff out there. I am taking a bit of a gamble with what I've put in the garden room. So I'm fairly confident the potatoes will be okay, because they take quite a while to come through anyway. And they're probably a lot hardier than just seeds would be as they first start to germinate. So it is a bit of a gamble. We'll see what happens with those. But undeterred, there are some other seeds that I'm keen to look at, and I'll show you those in a moment. I've got them on the workbench there. So in terms of today, yeah, it's probably going to be a shorter than usual video. I'll get the chimney cleaned out for the wood burning stove. I'll show you a couple of seeds that I am going to put in to the trays in the garden room. I've had a bit of an issue with one of my CCTV cameras as well. So I have another one of those on the workbench. So I'll be juggling those around today to get all 3 back up and running again. And finally, the portable solar panel that I've got. It's currently sitting in the garden room. You'll have seen it numerous times, and I've got that permanently plugged in now to that battery box that I use to power up the diesel heater. And whilst even in this miserable grey weather, it is still putting a charge into that battery box. We've got another plane going over. The joys of live video. Hopefully you can still hear me above the noise of that. Yeah, the portable solar panel. It's inside at the moment. It's propped up on that diesel heater cabinet to get it out of the way of those raised beds I've put in. And it's not really in a great position to collect sunlight even in here. You've got the fact that it's almost vertical against the cabin wall, which doesn't help. It's enclosed within the garden room, so whatever light is coming has been filtered through the plastic sheeting. So I'm going to have a little play with that as well today and see if I can't get that mounted outside on the tractor garage roof, and then feed the cable back through into the garden room and onto the battery box. Not sure if the cable's long enough, if I'm honest, but as always, I do make it up as I go along, so I guess you'll find out shortly. In terms of what's going on in and around the UK, we're full steam ahead with vaccinations. I think we've done 1.3, 1.4 million people so far. And we've got a vaccination row going on. It's quite interesting because now that we've left the European Union, they've had massive issues there. They've completely cocked up their vaccination programme, and the factories in Europe that produce the vaccine are having issues. So this last few days there's been an almighty row as they try to demand that the factory in the UK sends its vaccines to mainland Europe rather than sending them here, where we've actually bought them. So it's interesting. It's a bit of a reversal of roles, whereas before we were begging the EU for stuff because we had to get their permission. Now that we're free, the roles are reversed and the EU doesn't like it at all. So that's causing a bit of amusement right now for those of us that were in favour of Brexit here in the UK. Other than that, not a great deal going on in the UK. It's business as usual with the COVID and the incessant media hype over it. Lots of full-blown travel bans now for people coming into the country from pretty much anywhere in the world, and equally travel bans on Brits being able to go outside the UK. For me, I'm just plodding on. I keep topping up with my long-term food stores and other things. I've been buying seeds lately. There was a bit of a scare story floating around on YouTube about seed shortages. Not actually seeing that, to be fair, but having said that, the UK does produce vast amounts of seed for export, so perhaps that's why we're not seeing an issue with it. But certainly I'm not having problems buying them. They're in plentiful supply. The one thing I am continuing to do is just top up my preps for the long-term food stores, which is one of the reasons why I'm not spending too much time down here today. Yes, I've got a few jobs I want to do, and yes, there are lots of things I would love to be doing, but actually this weekend I'm going to spend a bit more time with my long-term food stores and do a bit of an inventory, and I'll be sealing up, vacuum sealing up some more bags of rice and pasta and a few other things. I'm also conscious that during this last year I've been looking at the tinned goods that I store and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. So I'm rotating out a few different things. Tins of ravioli, which is like pasta with meat inside. I had loads of those in my long-term stores, and I might have mentioned this in a previous video, I'm not sure, but bang for buck, they're not really great. They're okay as a meal, and there's calories in them and there's protein in them, but they are a bit limited. They're not as versatile as, say, tins of stewed steak or tins of that chicken you saw in a video recently in the white sauce. So I am rotating those out and spending a bit more time prepping those other items which are more versatile. You can use them in different meal menus rather than just having the one option of it's a meal of ravioli. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, I'm spending a bit of time this afternoon and probably a lot of tomorrow going through my long-term stores, and I'll probably share that with you in another video. So lots of things this weekend, but not so much of them actually down here at the cabin. So I'm going to get this coffee down me because I'm sitting here chatting away and I'm not drinking it. I'll get that out of the way. I'll show you a few other things I've brought down in addition to that compost, and then there'll be a few clips of me as I busy myself on those few jobs I mentioned at the cabin, and then it'll probably be an early finish today, get myself back off home and put a bit more attention into those long-term food stores, because whatever you do this year, whether it's topping up or whether it's, if you're a new prepper starting out with long-term food stores, don't neglect those. We are heading for issues this year. I'm fairly confident of that in terms of food availability and pricing. Here in the UK, we'll definitely see something this year because of this, what is now some element of bad feeling from our mainland Europe cousins over Brexit. And we do get quite a bit of our summer fruit and vegetables from the EU. So I'm interested to see what happens this year with that. But globally, with planting, harvesting and numerous other issues I've talked about over the last year, I think there is definitely going to be an impact this year on food supply. But moreover, there's definitely going to be an impact on price, whether that's because of supply issues or more likely economic issues as a result of the COVID crisis and the damage it's done on not just the economy here in the UK but globally. So yeah, don't neglect your preps this year, whatever you do. If anything, increase what you're doing in terms of food, because I think it is going to be an extremely difficult year this year. Anyway, enough said. I'm going to get this down me, get on with these jobs. I am conscious now that heater's gone off. I am starting to feel a distinct drop in temperature. I can't quite see from here what it is on the thermometer, but I'm certainly feeling it on my legs because I'm just sat here doing nothing. I need to get moving, so I'll catch up with you shortly. I just wanted to quickly share a few bits with you, stuff I'll be doing today. I mentioned CCTV. These are really nice little cameras, but for some reason, this is the first one that I bought. I don't know how long ago that was now. And I've never had any issues with these. They're outside in all weathers, freezing temperatures. There's a little cover that pops over that, like a silicone kind of case. And I've never had issues with them, but for some reason, this one I have. It's just stopped working. So rather than play with it, well, I will play with it, but rather than play with it and take the chance that I'll lose coverage of the field in the cabin, I just bit the bullet and I've bought another one. This is a slightly different design, but principle's the same. It's wireless. So I'll be popping this up today, and then at my leisure I can play with this one. So that'll go in today. But predominantly I'm going to be doing a little bit of more planting. We mentioned these in the live stream again. This is these true potato seeds. These are from 2019, and I've got another packet from 2020. Now there's a few people had these now. There's a couple of people, I think it was Sean and Shawnee, that got a selection of 2019 and 2020. And then more recently, Heather has got some, well, she hasn't because they're on the way in the post, but she will have some fairly shortly. And we'll be doing a little experiment this year with these. It's too early to be putting these in right now. You can really only plant them 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date. So we're probably looking about middle of March really before I really realistically can plant these. But we will be at some point. But what I will be planting, strange as it may seem, are peas, because they can go in right now. I'll pop in a couple of these. These are the ones that I used last year, and they worked well. But also as a bit of an experiment, you might remember if you've been watching the channel through the year, I harvested some of the ones that I actually grew. So I'm going to plant some of these And it might seem a bit bizarre if I've got a bag full of seeds already as to why I would be planting these, but this really is a bit of an experiment, because you never really know, unless it says on the packet, whether or not these seeds, when you plant them, if they'll produce plants that in turn will produce viable seeds. Now, clearly I have got seeds because they're there. So they have come from the plants that I grew from these seeds. But I have no way really of knowing if these seeds are viable, if they will produce plants. Because I don't know if these are heirloom seeds or not, because it doesn't say on the packet. Now, if they are heirloom seeds, then in theory, these that I've collected from those plants will go on to produce more plants and more seeds, and in perpetuity they'll just keep producing. But if they're not heirloom seeds, there is a chance that these are actually dud and will not germinate and produce a plant. And there's only one way to find out, and that's to put these in the ground and see what happens. So if these do produce plants, then I know that these seeds are heirloom seeds. They will continue in perpetuity to produce more and more and more plants. So in subsequent years, I can save these seeds knowing that I'm going to get plants out of them. If they don't produce plants from these seeds, I know that they're no good. Okay, they'll produce plants and I'll get pea pods, but I won't get successive years. I hope all that makes sense. But it is something to bear in mind. It's all right having packets of seeds. In your first year you'll get a harvest, but you won't have seeds to plant in the second and the third and the fourth year. So you need to know. So either just buy heirloom seeds and nothing but heirloom seeds, or do as I'm doing, experiment to see whether they actually do work or not. So that's peas. What I'm also going to be planting are these little puppies, marigolds. So I'm going to put some of these into trays, into the garden room. I mean, they do take quite a while to come through. I think it's 2 to 3 weeks before they'll germinate anyway. That's going to take us towards the back end of February. And then over the subsequent couple of weeks, I'll be busy separating out and potting on to get big plants. And the idea is that this will help me avoid the problem that I had last year with bloody butterflies and caterpillars eating all of my brassica plants, because all of the broccoli and cauliflower that I put in just got hammered with caterpillars. So hopefully a bit of companion planting with these marigolds will do the trick and help reduce that risk. I've also got some lavender plants at home that I took cuttings off and grew on additional plants back end of last year, and at some point I'll bring those down so that by the time we get into the raised beds, I've got marigold and I've got lavender, and it'll help reduce the risk of me losing my my brassica plants this year. So that's seeds. What I'm also going to be doing, though not today, and this came up in the live stream the other day, we were talking about potatoes, and there was quite a bit of conversation about shop bought potatoes. Now these, you can see clearly, these are supermarket potatoes. Is there a date on there? There isn't a date on there, but trust me, I got these literally 2 weeks ago, almost to the day. And if I take a look inside, you can see already that these are putting out chits. So I've just put these to one side in a bag, and what I'll do, I'll leave these, whether it's next weekend or the weekend after, I don't know yet, we'll see. but knowing me, it'll probably be next weekend. Because I am really impatient now to get stuff in the ground and start growing. But yeah, your shop bought potatoes, there's absolutely nothing wrong with using those rather than going out and buying professionally grown seed potatoes. They do just as well. I've used shop bought potatoes all the way through last year, and as you'll have seen from my videos, I've had quite decent harvests off those. So at some point those will be going into those little pots and containers in the garden room until such time as I feel comfortable putting them outside to grow on in the raised beds in the polytunnel. And indeed at some point I'll be planting these, well, versions of these in those big barrels that I used last year. So I just thought I'd share those with you. I'm going to get myself out now. I'll probably do that solar panel first, because that's a fairly easy job, I think, and it's a fairly clean job, before I set about the chimney, which is definitely a dirty job. So I'll catch up with you shortly. So this is that portable solar panel. You've seen this in numerous videos, so if you're a regular viewer, I'll not bore you with the detail. But that's been sat for a while now in that in the garden room, and then in that raised bed once I constructed that, just collecting a bit of solar to keep that little battery box topped up. But now I'm using the raised beds. Clearly it can't go there. I didn't want to pop it in the middle on that paving slabbed area, because it would just be in the way. So I just popped it onto the diesel heater cabinet, and it's not really getting full benefit of the daylight just sat there. And whilst the battery box is okay, it's I don't know where it is now. It's been on this morning with that diesel heater, so I don't know what's in there. What we got, 12.7, 12.6 and charging, which is quite stunning really, given the position of the panel on that cabinet, and the fact that it's in here on a very overcast day. So in terms of performance, I can't recommend those enough. They seem to suck power from nothing. It's quite amazing really. But yeah, clearly if I'm using that battery box for the diesel heater, I am drawing a lot of power. I think it's something like 35, 36 watts on startup, and then it drops slightly, but it is taking quite a bit of draw out of what is a small battery. It's only 110 amp hour at the end of the day. Did I say 36 watts? I meant 36 amps draw on the battery. Anyway, it's sucking the battery a lot while it's running, so I really do need to keep it topped up. So I'm going to move that panel, probably put it out there next to my little owl for company on the tractor garage roof, and then feed the cable through into the garden room. So I'll get that done as well this morning, another little job, and it'll just get the panel out of the way, so I'm not having an accident knocking it off there or bumping into it, and it'll give it a bit more of a fighting chance to draw some decent power in. Well, that's the cameras sorted out and everything's working as it should. Solar is not too bad, considering there's no sun out there with 13.8, and we've got it's not really rain, it's more of a sleet than a rain, so I'm suspecting we might be getting some snow on the way. I'm going to set about the planting in the garden room, so I'll give you a couple of video shots of that as I'm doing that, but we're not far off being done now, just that chimney to do. But I'll get this planting done first, save the mucky job till last. I thought I'd start with the peas first, and just, same as before, you've seen me do this. Pop some little holes in. therapeutic, but not very exciting for you. So these are the peas that I've taken from the plants I grew in 2020. I'll just pop one in each little hole. I'll give these a spray over with water once I'm done, and we'll see how we get on with these. Fingers crossed. We'll get something out of these. Oh, there we go. Just make sure that the soil's in contact with the seeds. Got my little reminder of what I've got. Pop that in there. And that's the peas done. Just need a little water in. I'm just going to pop these marigold in. They're quite weird little seeds, these. They're almost like little umbrellas going on. So it is a bit fiddly, but we'll drop one in each of these holes and we'll see how we get on with them. This is really fiddly. Especially with cold fingers. Anyway, rather than watching this for the next God knows how long it's going to take, I'll pop these in and come back to you shortly. Well, that's those seeds planted. So we've actually got an awful lot in right now. We've got 2 containers of potatoes, 2 pots of carrots, then we've got from a couple of weeks ago we've got cabbage and cauliflower, then from last week we've got swede, and then now we've got some peas and we've got those marigolds. So I don't know, you'll have to let me know what you think. Do you think that these are going to come through any day soon? Who knows? It's all an experiment. But if you don't try, you don't find out. Well, it is cold. That rain or sleet, whatever it is, just keeps coming and going. Looking at the sky out there, it is really grey, and I suspect that at some point today we are going to get some. So the seeds are planted. I've just got that mucky job of the wood burning stove chimney to do. I've saved that till last deliberately. I have to unscrew, there's like a protective silicone cowling on the outside where the pipe goes through the wall. I've got to go up and unscrew that, and I didn't want to do that in the rain and get all wet. So fingers crossed I'll have a bit of a break and I can get out there and dismantle the chimney, and you'll see what happens later on in the video. But for now, I'm just going to have 5 minutes with this cup of coffee and warm these fingers through. People do keep telling me to wear gloves, but it is really difficult when you need that touch sensation in your fingers. Messing around with the CCTV, I can't really do that with gloves. And similarly with the seeds, I can't really do that with gloves either, though I will have them when I do the chimney, because that's quite bulky and I don't really need that fine touch sensation. You'll have to let me know in the comments section about these seeds. I absolutely do understand that this is really early. It's the end of January, literally the end of January. So it is early, really, to be planting seeds. If it was indoors in a heated room, not a problem. But this clearly isn't heated. So it is a bit of a learning experience to see what happens with these. And really the only reason I'm doing it now is as an experiment to see how early in the year, in this environment that I have here, the cabin and the garden room, how early in the year I can get these to germinate. As I say lots of times, if you don't try, you don't find out. And clearly in a true something hit the fan scenario, and we were off grid, and you were going to be dependent on the food that you're growing through the year, you do need to know what's possible and what isn't, in terms of how early in the year can you plant. And similarly, as I discovered with the carrots and potatoes last year, how late in the year you can plant to get harvests as close to that Christmas period as possible. So yes, I do fully appreciate that normal, if there is such a thing, in the normal world, it is pretty early, in fact very early, to be planting seeds out. But the worst that can happen, realistically, because they are indoors, they're not outside exposed to constant rain, so they're not going to get waterlogged, they're not going to start rotting in the ground before they have a chance to germinate. And really the worst that can happen, or this is my theory anyway, the worst that can happen is they don't germinate until it is warm enough for them. And I could be sat here for the next 5 or 6 weeks waiting impatiently for the little green shoots to appear. But best case scenario, in a couple of weeks I will see some green shoots, as will you in the video, because I am planting these out. I have no clue what's going to happen to them, if they are going to grow or not, but I won't hide it from you if they don't. You will see week by week as we go along exactly when these do eventually germinate and we do get some green shoots. Don't know if you can hear that or not on the roof. The wind and the rain is back. So I guess it is good that I've got my coffee and I can sit here and relax for 5 minutes. Hopefully it will stop and I can get on with that chimney, but irrespective of whether it does or it doesn't, if I get wet, I get wet, because that does need looking at. I do want to see what's happening with that chimney and if it's blocked or not. So I'll show you later on. For now, I'll get my coffee down me. Enjoy whatever it is you're doing, and I'll see you shortly. Well, I've got the chimney out for the wood burning stove, and in some parts actually it's not too bad, whereas in other parts, as you get further up the chimney, you can see there, or I'm hoping you can see there, that's really quite clogged up. Don't know if you can see that or not. Possibly. So I can actually feel the weight in that piece of chimney. And again, as you get closer to the top, you can see it's built up. It's not as bad as it was, for sure, when I did it the first time. But clearly, I don't know if you'll be able to see or not. I guess I'll find out in the edit. But yeah, there's an awful lot as you get closer towards the end of the chimney. You can see that mesh screen is quite blocked in places. So that's going to be a messy job for the next hour or so, I guess. Time is flying by, as it always does. We're at 11 o'clock already. I just don't know where the time goes, I really don't. So this will keep me out of mischief for quite a while, sorting this out. So I'll come back to you a little bit later. Cold and dirty, but I have got gloves on. Well, I'm hoping you can see that. That's a massive difference over what it was. So steady away, we're gradually getting through at the chimney and getting all this gunk out. Well, that's the fire cleaned out, and I just put a very small fire in there just to put it through the chimney, and I can see if there's any leaks, but I can't see anything leaking inside the cabin. So we'll take a little look outside and see how that's doing. Not expecting any surprises, but you never know. Nope, all looks well. It's doing what it should do. So that's that little mucky job done. Well, big mucky job done. This weather's just not letting up. You can see in the sky there, everywhere you look, grey skies. Don't know whether it's rain or snow that's coming, but something's coming. But not a bad little bit of progress for today. Quite pleased. Only thing that is disappointing, that bloody fitting didn't come for those rainwater barrels. Don't know what's up with that. That should have been here ages ago, and it hasn't. So that's one job still to do, but not for today. That portable panel is up on the roof of the tractor garage, so that's okay. I'm quite content actually with what I've got done. To say it's half a day, can't complain at all. Anyway, I need to get myself back in, get tidied up, and it'll soon be time to go. Well, that's everything locked up. I'll just leave the fire to die down. There's not a great deal in there, to be honest, so it won't last very long. It's almost gone now actually. Wind's picking up. Thankfully it's not raining, but we've had enough already. So I'm going to get myself off home, and then at some point over the weekend I'll let you see what I've been doing with my long-term food stores. But for now I need to go get a warm and get something to eat. So I'll see you all later. Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, I welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. What do you think about the planting? Is it going to work or not going to work? Are you planting right now? And if you are, what are you planting and where are you planting it? Let me know in the comments section below. But for now, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.